Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today, I want to begin to get into a little bit about this mini bike. It really does have a lot going for it, but it is going to need some things. Uh, at this point, I just want to do a kind of an evaluation what it's going to take to get this going. But I want to get into at least starting to take this apart over here. This drive assembly, I think, is going to be a point of focus today. Some bad things went on with this, and the chain is kind of in some bad shape. But that's kind of the major part of this bike that I want to make sure I can get everything right with it. That's going to work. There's nothing rusty about it. It's all looks oily, so I expect that's going to come apart pretty easily. And what else do we have going on here? The forward controls, that all needs redone. The throttle handle, and I've already taken that off. Where's that part on here? Yeah, this part is supposed to go on here. This is the part that you're supposed to be able to do this to give it throttle. Well, it was rusted on there really bad, and it's just thin pot metal, so I just chiseled it. It's just it's just real brittle pot metal. It didn't take much to chisel that off of there. So I'll have to get a new one. I'll clean this all up, put a new one on there that does twist. And then of course there's the little mechanism for the cable and the thing that actually clamps on the handlebar, which is what holds it. So that whole mechanism and a new throttle cable, we'll have to get that. Okay, and then the other side, well, the brake lever is missing, and the cable is there. It's a little bent up on the end, and we have a kill button. It kills the engine when you hold that in. Don't know if that would still work or not. I can take my test meter and see if that grounds out when I push that button. Other than that, I think the brake cable maybe is in question. Now, I did pull on that brake cable the other day, and it looks like even the brake mechanism back here is still intact. Yeah, so right here on the shaft is a little brake drum, and this brake band that goes around it. When you pull that cable, it squeezes that around there, and that's the braking mechanism. And I want to clean this up too and see how much brake lining is still on there. But if I go up and try pulling the cable, all right, let's see what happens here. Yeah, so it still functions, and all the moving parts are there. One issue we do have with this brake is this cable, where it looks like it wasn't supported properly, and it was allowed to bend over and kink like that. Although it still seems to operate pretty freely, but that should have been supported. Kind of went up in a gentle curve to it and attached up here to the frame properly. Maybe it was at one time, but so that's why that's like that. So yeah, so it functions. So for now, what I might do is slip some kind of tubing over that to help support it, reattach it up here, and then I'll get a whole new brake assembly up here and reattach, hook that to it, and properly adjust that brake and see how that works. So I don't think we have a whole lot to do or worry about with the brake assembly. Now the drive assembly, okay, we got some problems there. Well, at some point, probably after many hours of use, somewhere this bearing appears to have gone bad. Yeah, here's the inner part. This is the inner race, and it moves on there freely. Now, I did already, like I said, I have messed with this a little bit already. Um, but I didn't want to get too far ahead here before I got a camera rolling. But this bearing, and this is one thing I already ordered for it, and I got in, is that bearing is shot. This is the inner seal that's supposed to be sealed to keep the lubrication in and keep the dirt out. The seal's all wasted. Yeah, and some of the balls. Let me see, where are they? Alright, there's some ball bearings on that side, but there's some missing on this side, so that bearing is completely shot. So at some point the bearing went bad, and maybe it locked up, and because the outside case is even broken, the outer race. So that was probably it. When that went bad, this thing was probably parked, and that was the end of the story. Oops, man, that shaft just wants to come out of there. I just pushed it halfway out. So let's see what all's holding this stuff in here. Here, come back in here. See if this collar will come off too. All right, probably gonna have to get a little hammer to coax some of this stuff off. Look, the sprocket even wants to. The sprocket is even nice and free on here, so I think we can get that off without too much trouble. And get this chain the rest of the way off. Yeah, this chain has issue. Once it was parked, the chain got rusty, and a lot of the links are stiff. We're gonna fix that. We're gonna kind of rejuvenate that chain. But let me see what else is. Let me sit this down a minute and see what else here I got to do to get this off. Now this drive pulley actually almost fell off the other day. I think there's a retaining ring or snap ring that's supposed to hold it on, but it was missing. So that kind of fell off, and I just slid it back on. And this other bearing, alright, only wants to go so far. I don't know where my little brass drift is, but this little aluminum one will work. I want to use something soft. I don't want to bang the shaft up. Okay, what's moving? There we go. Now this bearing is a little more intact. It actually rolls smooth. Both seals are still in place. Heck, maybe I should have only ordered one, but I ordered both. 2 brand new bearings. But it's still really smooth. So what's left here? Is this? What's going on with this chain stuck in here? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There we go. Now somehow the shaft needs to come out of here. There it comes. I think we'll just drive the shaft the whole way out. Yep. I just at least want to get it far enough to get this sprocket off. Or the chain for now, anyhow. Okay, one chain. Looks like there's still a fair amount of brake lining in here, so that's good. Okay, anything left is that collar, and then the brake drum will come off that way. And I'll leave that key in there for now. There's why it's stubborn. I did not loosen. I'm glad I didn't force it too bad. I did not loosen that Allen head, or that set screw that's above the key. So it'll be easier to work out on the bench anyway. I'll blow that out, put some penetrating oil in it, and get that screw off of there. But we're going to leave that sit for the moment. I want to have a look at this old chain. It's, you can see, okay, that it's not very straight. A lot of these pivot points are really stiff. Yeah, some of those just don't pivot anymore. But we're going to try to fix that and make this all. See, here's a good section where they all pivot. Okay, and the chain will go straight and go either way. Because of rust, here's a section that's permanently curved. Some of it will move and some of it won't. So we're going to try to get this chain all freed up, and we're going to look at the new bearings, get some of this stuff washed up, and maybe we can get this whole assembly back here rolling and functioning like it should. Okay, see, that is not how a healthy chain works. That is not proper. So what I want to do is I'm going to take it over to the bench grinder that has a wire wheel on it, and I want to knock off the heavy stuff a little bit on both sides to just to allow some penetrating oil to get in there better. I did soak this the other day and worked a little bit while I was still on the bike, and I realized how bad it was, and I just sprayed it a second time. I thought we're just gonna leave that soak for a while. But obviously some of these are still really stiff. They're gonna need some little extra persuasion. I think that's about all the good the wire wheel is going to do us for right now. We got to move to step 2 or step 3. Now, if you're wondering why I just don't go ahead and, if I got new bearings, why I just didn't buy a new chain as well, well, it's because I just want to get the minimal things I need to get this running right now. I want to work through it, see what it's going to need at bare minimum. Once I work through from head to tail, get working what I can. If I really have to replace it, I will, but I want to get it functioning again. You know, at a later time, some other things will probably will get a fresh chain eventually, but if I can get the thing working and functioning, it's part of the evaluation process. I'm not going to tear it all down and repaint it and fully restore it if I can't get it running. And I know parts are available, whole other engines are available. I know they're out there. I know I can get them. Even if the frame's cracked or broken, I can weld the frame. I mean, it will run. But I just want to work through it, and if there's any unexpected surprises or holdups, I want to get through that process. So that's where we're at with this. I brought this over, and I give this thing a whole new fresh drink of PB Blaster penetrating oil. And unfortunately, this chain does not have a master link to where I can unhook it and just stretch it out in one nice straight line. I'd like to be able to turn it, inside out and bend it the other way. Well, I guess I can to a degree. It's just a little trickier. You get that chain tangle going on. But for right now, I'm just going to drape it down on below there and try to find these bad sections. Right there's a bad section. I'm just going to kind of gently tap that flat. Here's some other ones that are I guess I could use a soft hammer. A brass hammer would be good here. Another section where it doesn't pivot. Oh man. How do you deal with that? It's easy when you can just pound them straight, but what if you need them to curve? How do you break that loose? Alright. I'm going to get some channel locks. I hope this chain is salvageable. I need to get each and every one to pivot, or it's pointless. Well, you got some movement there. Okay, there we go. Once they pivot, that's it. They get oil in them. Come on. Oh, there's a tough one. We got two right there in a row that's going to be stubborn. Okay, we got a couple that's not cooperating. So I got a piece of 3/8 flat bar, and we'll just deal with them. So I'm going to work at this for a while and see if I can get each and every that one's starting to move. Once they start moving, then they start freeing up pretty quickly, but I'm going to work through this thing and see if I can get it working like it's supposed to. See, here's another way I can test for bad spots is just rolling it on the sprocket. Okay, every time that chain jumps, see how here it pivots correctly. When we get to a stiff one, there, it does that. Okay, that's an area that needs worked on. That whole stretch there. This here's not as bad. There's a little bit in there. Every time it jumps, there's a stiff. So we'll have to work on this a little while. Okay, I've come back to this chain later in the day. I did work it for quite a while and got much of it, rolling like it should. But I still have this section. I did get every single link to start pivoting. But what I did was take this one section here, still has them that they're a little bit sticky, so I bent them or pivoted them, one direction or the other as far as they go to their sticky point. But when I hammer this all straight, they kind of pivot, somewhat. So I have them all kind of bent to their extreme to make them stick. Yeah, I should just bought a new chain. But where's the challenge in that, right? I think what I'm going to do is kind of blow this out with the air hose. A lot of rust and oil will come out of that. And I think I'm going to rinse it in kerosene and blow it out again. And I might soak it in like motor oil overnight. Because we need something with a little better lubricity. And motor oil does that. It's a better lubricant than penetrating oil. So I think maybe we can get that. And I'll tap these gently all straight again. And blow it out. Let it soak, get some good lubricating oil in them. And then probably work them a little bit more. And I think this chain will come around and be usable for a while. I think once the mini bike is together and functional, I'm pretty certain eventually it'll get a new chain, but I just want to see what I can do with what I got right now. Now I rigged up this little jig here to help in the process, And I got this little sprocket. My buddy just put a new starter sprocket on his walk behind Gravely. This one's pretty worn out, but for what I'm doing, it's pretty okay. But I put this bar here to kind of trap it on here. So what I did was to kind of identify, just to kind of work it back and forth and identify where the troubled spots still were. You know, I could put it in here and, you know, that makes them all pivot and then straighten back out, pivot and straighten back out as they go around. Well, so you can see what happens when I get to a trouble spot. So I need to tap this section back out, still work on this section some more, and if I can get it all to work like that, you know, a lot of that was sticky too, but most of it's freed up. I got two in here that are still a little sticky, but yeah, we'll get her working. So yeah, just I want to be gentle with it. And then I found this bar, this piece of stainless bar that kind of fits in there nice, where it'll really straightens it out there. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and blow this out and rinse it, blow it out some more, get it in some motor oil. Put a little kerosene in here, and I think this chain is really going to pollute clean kerosene pretty quickly. Ooh, okay, that's going to be plenty. I think that's going to get dirty real quick. Okay, let's see what happens here. I want to rotate it all through here. I think that'll do for now. I'll go blow it out again and see about getting some real oil into it. Well, that mostly looks like just kerosene, which will probably evaporate. Didn't get much rust that time. We got most of the rust washed out. Well, it's feeling more and more flexible all the time. Well, I couldn't find a container to do this in, so I dumped that kerosene into another can I have here that I was using to wash up some other things, other real dirty, oily things. So I'll use that kerosene for more washing. And I just dumped some motor oil in here from my last oil change that I had saved into here. Just gonna rotate this around in here a few times. I don't think I can get it fully submerged without putting a whole lot of oil in here, but maybe I'll just rotate it around again later, and again later, or in the morning, but we'll get some good oil soaking into them links. Yeah, that's better. That's good and slimy oil. That's going to do it some good. So we might be getting to a good stopping point here for the night. I do have these new bearings. I want to get these in. I guess this phase 1 part is, if I can, once I get that chain freed up, I can put this axle back in, and I have the new bearings for it. Okay, these here are shot. I'm going to put the new bearings in it. That's actually a pretty neat fit. And we'll get this all back together. The brake assembly drawn back in. We'll get this big old pulley that'll be on this side. And we'll worry about getting something to drive this pulley. So once this drives all back together and the chain's back on it, then I can put the wheel, put the chain on this rear sprocket, put the wheel in it, and properly adjust the chain, and then this whole rear assembly should be taken care of and functional again. So that's kind of stage one for this thing. I think I want to see how this other bearing fits in here. I was afraid that these might be wiped out pretty bad, but as long as they're not floppy, no, they go in pretty, it's a pretty neat fit. They don't wobble around. So, yeah, this should all work really, really nice. Well, this evaluation has not gone as smoothly as I thought. I thought I'd make more progress during the process of evaluating, and I've re-evaluated that chain, and I really don't have, I think it might be too far gone. There's still some sections that are just, I don't think they're going to break loose like they should. So I would like to have gotten further along here. I'm probably just going to go ahead and get a new chain for it. And it's not that I'm being cheap, you know, they're not a lot of money. It's that I was kind of counting on having better success with that chain, being able to get that done today, not have to go parts hunting or finding it online or anything. I was hoping that would break free and I'd be able to get this all together today. That hasn't happened. But I'm looking at getting a couple other goodies for it, a fresh chain for it. I can get this together. It'll be all together right, and we can move on with things. So I'm going to get some more parts in. I'm going to gather some stuff up, and certainly we'll make better progress in the next video. Thanks for hanging out in the garage with me today, tinkering around. We'll get this thing rolling here a little bit better now that I know what I'm up against. That's how the evaluation went. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Okay? I'll see you again soon.